A 200-pound fat cat arrived in the small town. Though technically a Yao, supernatural creature, it possessed no magical abilities whatsoever. Xiaoya, who had just returned to her rural hometown from the city, never dreamed this oversized feline was the pet her grandfather had raised for decades, now exhibiting eerily human-like habits. Despite his perpetually carefree demeanor, the cat took impeccable care of her grandfather, who lived alone. He cooked, did laundry, and even took part-time jobs around town. But every time he earned money, he'd rush to the arcade and gamble until his pockets were empty, only then remembering it was time to go home. 30 years earlier, Grandpa had found him as a tiny orange kitten in the wilderness and named him Xiaoxing. Over time, Grandpa noticed something peculiar: Xiaoxing never aged. 3 decades later, he evolved into a cat Yao and chose to stay by Grandpa's side. When Xiaoya first met Xiaoxing, she was equal parts amazed and bewildered. Creatures like him rarely lived openly among humans. In the city, he'd probably be some shopping mall's mascot. Leisure hours made it easy to forget troubles. Xiaoxing even owned a beat-up electric scooter, now missing a mirror, which he rode daily to enjoy nature, though his speeding habit often attracted unwanted attention. Even as a Yao, traffic laws applied. Some days were frustrating, but he never dwelled on setbacks. Anger solved nothing, after all. Then Xiaoya changed everything. With Grandpa too old to manage the family temple alone, he asked Xiaoxing to help watch over Xiaoya, who just moved to the countryside. Bored and resentful, she holed up indoors playing video games. Their relocation wasn't by choice. Her mother had died 3 years prior, and her gambling-addicted father, drowning in debt, had fled to the countryside to lay low. He'd hoped to borrow money from Grandpa, but when he demanded 1 million yen, Grandpa kicked him out. With no options left, Xiaoya's father vanished after promising, falsely, to return for her mother's memorial, taking Xiaoya's savings with him. She suspected he'd effectively abandoned her to Grandpa's care. Trying to adapt, Xiaoya soon regretted it.
イカ美味しいよ。イカ食べようよ。イカが嫌いだなんて、いかがなものかな。
His crude habits exasperated her, but underestimating Xiaoxing would be a mistake. Though lazy, the mention of money electrified him.
え ?3000 円
A bird-scaring job offered that sum per person. For humans, it'd be hard, but for an animal Yao like Xiaoxing, terrifying birds was child's play. Fireworks did the trick. Afterward, when Xiaoya demanded her cut, Xiaoxing gave only pocket money, claiming he'd protect her from wasting it. His real motive? Gambling it all away at the arcade along with her share. Absurdly, he still treated his friend Xiaoji to a meal. Xiaoji, however, lamented his perpetual bad luck, fired hours after getting hired, plagued by constant mishaps. Then an old man entered, the god of misfortune, least popular deity across heaven, earth, and the underworld. His presence explained Xiaoji's curse. Once attached, victims suffered endlessly. Worse, humans couldn't perceive gods. The next day, Xiaoxing bargained with homemade food, begging the god to leave Xiaoji. No luck, inflicting misery was his divine duty. Frustrated, Xiaoxing challenged him to a duel. To everyone's shock, the god accepted. Predictably, the gambler lost. Meanwhile, Xiaoya waited alone at the train station. Her father had missed her mother's memorial. Determined to find him in Tokyo, she fell asleep and missed the last train. Back home, her despair was palpable. Xiaoxing, unsure how to comfort her, left watermelon on her table. The next day, he found newborn quails and tried returning them to the forest, but they stampeded into a cave. Inside, a giant frog slept. Startled awake, the frog and Xiaoxing bonded instantly as fellow Yao. The cave, the frog's lifelong project, even housed a hot spring. That night, frog-hosted gatherings introduced Xiaoxing to other cave-dwelling Yao, all living communally for joy. Their noise woke Xiaoya. Overwhelmed, she confessed her grief: a dead mother, an abandoning father. The Yao wept in sympathy, vowing support. Yet Xiaoxing remained silent. The next day, he accused her of lying. Her father hadn't technically abandoned her. Furious, Xiaoya retorted he couldn't understand her pain. She stormed off. Days later, Xiaoxing spotted the frog Yao working at a golf course. They were earning money to help Xiaoya, buying groceries with leftovers. Xiaoxing, meanwhile, bought a lottery ticket. Then Grandpa warned him Xiaoya had vanished, likely headed for Tokyo. She'd fallen into a pit while checking maps. In dreams, she relived her family's happiest moments, shattered by her mother's death, her father's debts, her derailed education. The frog Yao, digging as usual, found her. Xiaoxing, tracking her scent, arrived too, but Xiaoya, still resentful, refused to return unless they funded her Tokyo trip. Seeing her resolve, he hesitated. The next day, they went. Grandpa insisted Xiaoxing protect her. Tokyo's skyscrapers left the rural cat wide-eyed. At her old home, death notices plastered the door. Her father was gone, confirming her fears. Kneeling before her mother's altar, Xiaoya apologized for missing the memorial. At the crematorium, unpaid fees barred her from even entering. Devastated, she dismissed Xiaoxing, wanting solitude.